Well,
I
when
mean,
you're go ahead.
yeah, if that's when you're around and free.
Yeah. Or if you're at a time zone that's at GMT +3, it's 5 o'clock p.m. here. So
Yeah, it's 10 a.m. here, so early morning. And they're
all
off.
right, there we are. We are off. What do you think we got on Uncle?
I kind of want to see a Burna escape. Haven't seen one of those yet this tournament.
I got a burn escape in my first tournament race, but hey, our runners are not going to need to worry about bombs. So
Yeah.
that's at least a plus.
Now I kind of half want to see bombs at Uncle, so that just doesn't matter.
That is exactly what happened to me in my second tournament race.
Are you just getting the seeds that I want to see? Yeah, should make sure to watch your third round race.
Yeah, I got to win one sometime. All right, let's see. And on Uncle, we got Kana Burna. Look at that.
Right.
Burn the witch. Burn.
Time to get ready to take some notes on how to do this fast.
Oh my gosh, the lamp? Is this even randomized?
I mean, the early lamp is really nice.
Yeah, it is for most people, but runners at the level of LTigre and SevenS1ns would probably prefer not to ever have to bother with the lamp.
Yeah, but if you have it, then you don't have to worry about doing dark rooms. You don't have to worry about sequence breaking the logic, and no matter how good you are at dark rooms, doing them in the light is going to be a little bit faster.
Very true. Very true. But the chat is already starting with the AGA 1 hype. Calm your, hold your horses, folks. There have been so many AGA 1 fake outs in version 29.
Yeah, there's like 40 more items that are currently available.
Yeah. There's the mirror.
Wow. So that makes, as soon as the glove turns up, that's Hera open. It could be interesting. Without a weapon, even.
Well, they do have Burna, which can kill a few things, and of course, bombs.
Yeah. But no way to kill Moldorm, so it would be interesting to see what the result there is. Also, as Chad is pointing out, finding the mirror means after you grab Zelda, you can just mirror back to the start of the castle.
Which is awesome.
There's the Moon
Oh my
Pearl.
gosh, Moon Pearl.
This escape is just loaded.
Okay, which means exactly one of two things. Either we have a Jet Seed, or we have Ultimate Troll Seed coming.
Where you find nothing but one sword and cape, and that's it.
Or, run around forever looking for the Ice Rod, which is, on the pedestal or something. Alright, so both our runners going for the 2-pot strat on ball and chain guards, saving up that magic for the hunt for the key rat later on here. And SevenS1ns does not look like... Oh no, SevenS1ns has not... There we go.
I've been known to do that sort of thing. Just have an item turn up, change the course of action, and then just autopilot and then wait. I should have been doing something else, so it's hard to fault him for that.
Well, I mean, how often do you have the mirror and escape anyway? Right?
Not very often.
Yeah.
This is a very, very generous escape. We'll see if the secret room continues that trend.
Yeah. And obviously with the mirror plus Burna and finding bombs early, they may be setting some land speed records on escape here.
And no boots. I don't think it's likely that the speed record's going down. I know I've seen at least one seed that had both boots and mirror early in escape, and you just can't stop that, especially with a sword, because this was before randomized weapons on Uncle.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
So you can just dash through all the enemies.
Oh no, LTigre is out of magic, so he's gonna have to use bomb strats here.
Pulls it off nicely. If you ever are low on magic going into the back of escape like that, there are pots that have small magics under them in the water room and the very first dark room.
Oh no, LTigre does a face plant. Nothing in the backside of escape, though.
Yeah, one less location to worry about later, but LTigre's death is going to be a little tough to come back from, but not impossible.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but there you go. See, showing a little bit of game knowledge by going for that magic pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-heart escape without a weapon is not an easy feat. Well, burn is a weapon, but it's not a good weapon.
And we got Power Glove in the seg chest. Ladies and gentlemen, we got access to, well, Hera and Death Mountain. Hera is a pendant, of course, because of course it is. Meanwhile, Desert Palace is Crystal 5 and a Crystal at Eastern.
Yeah. Yeah, seeing as Hera is a pendant, the lack of weapon is a lot less discouraging than it would normally be, because there's a decent chance you won't even have to worry about Moldorm.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would rush straight there, but it would definitely be very high on my mind.
Agreed. Yeah, but it's difficult to justify going now, particularly because of the item density in Kakariko Village.
So just green rupees from the bush crab. We haven't had any money yet, actually.
Yeah, it's Poverty Seed. I did not see what was up on...
I think it was +5 arrow capacity.
Right, it had a number on it, so...
We will probably get another closer look when LTigre gets there.
Yeah. The SevenS1ns killing the walking pickle there to reset the counter for the pull tree over here, hoping to find some more money. There's big 20. Yeah, he's going to take that.
Yeah,
it's one of the few times.
It was very clear that the initial reaction was, just 20 rupees. I'm just going to walk away from that. And then, no, that you actually care about that right now.
Exactly. Gets 20 out of the pull tree, too. So killing the walking pickle was definitely worth it there. And we have a nice rod sitting in Lost Woods here.
Yeah. Pretty generous early game, except for rupees. But with the tier 1 pull being 5 rupees each, that does allow for some pretty quick topping up to get to any rupee checkpoint.
Alright, so LTigre, like I said, falling a little bit behind right now, but LTigre is without a doubt no slouch at this game. So, and SevenS1ns is not chopped liver either. Both of these guys are excellent runners of this game, and anything can happen depending on the layout of the seed.
It looks like SevenS1ns got a bomb drop somewhere, which means he has the 3 bombs necessary for Kakariko. LTigre did not get a bomb drop, and so he's going to either need to buy bombs or luck out and get another bomb from a chest somewhere. And with there's the bombs from a chest somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Commentator's blessing, I guess?
Yeah, it was even the 10 bombs, so that's pretty much all the bomb worries for the rest of the seed resolved.
SevenS1ns dropping into Kakariko well. And big greener in the first chest. Ten arrows, not finding much here, although SevenS1ns did find the blue mail over in Thieves' Hut, which is good.
Especially because there's only been 1 heart piece so far and no heart containers.
Yeah.
So, very low on health. Money is starting to loosen up a bit. I can't imagine that the blue boomerang is too unwelcome when low on health for some safety.
Exactly, and depending on what the stun prize is, that might be incredibly useful. SevenS1ns with the chicken clip, and he put the chicken into another dimension. There's a bottle, so we are going to get a Sick Kid today as well.
Yeah, this Kakariko is pretty convenient. The only way it could be more convenient is if Flute turns up right about now.
Yeah, We are burning you if this is the flute. All right, okay. All right, I don't have to tie up anybody to a stake and burn them today. All right, we're good. And more bombs. I bet you'd like to have more bombs.
I mean, they are currently probably the best weapon that the runners have. Burna and Ice Rod are not exactly reliable.
Not so much, no. All right, on the library today, we've got Big Love. Very seriously doubt we'll see either of our runners go back for that, but
I'd say the only way somebody might go back for it is if boots are at race game, but just 20 rupees there.
All right, so SevenS1ns, where is he heading? He's going back to the house, so we got to think he's doing the normal South Shore route here.
Yeah, and you've got a big pile of bombs. Mini Moldorm Cave is not at all a worry. It'll be interesting to see where we see a stun prize check.
Probably have to have another weapon first.
With the Ice Rod, it might be doable. But you are correct that these runners will probably find the other boomerang and not do any stunning with that, because speedrunners prefer the blue one. And casual players prefer the red one.
And we have the red meringue just as you're talking about that, so...
That's why I want to talk about that. But yeah, the runners are probably going to wait until they find a sword or maybe the hammer before checking the stun prize. Unless they really need money or bombs or something now and they want to just bet on it being the stun prize.
SevenS1ns picking up the 50 rupees at the dam. We got some games to play in the Dark World. We've got the Purveyor Extraordinaire of Life lessons waiting up at the northeast. We got SevenS1ns showing us how it's done with the bombs in Mini Moldorm Cave.
And finally, a fourth heart. I noticed SevenS1ns, and a fifth heart even. I noticed SevenS1ns had a really nasty crab dodge that he had to do. They do 2 hearts, and he was at 2.5, so always a little scary, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's why he did not head over to Ice Rod Cave. It's always a bit of a gamble to skip Ice Rod Cave. An interesting play here would be doing the Houlihan room to get rupees for a fake flippering water walk Zora area. Zora himself is in logic due to the glove, and with the low rupees, it could be very trolly progression.
All right, so more big love from the old man on the mountain. So we went from nothing to something here pretty quickly.
LTigre is going to be checking Ice Rod Cave, so we'll see if SevenS1ns' decision to temporarily put it off, because there's no way he's going to permanently skip it, is going to burn him.
On Spectacle Rock, we got Piece of Fart. And inside Spectacle Rock Cave, we have... I didn't see it. Looked like a big 20. LTigre getting owned by the bombs and the crabs over here.
Yeah, thankfully blue mail. Without that blue mail, that would have been another death.
Yeah, 2 hearts of damage from the crabs on green mail, so...
Just a small shield over an Ice Rod Cave.
SevenS1ns being a little bit indecisive there for a second. Went into the menu half a dozen times.
he does elect to make the Hera rush.
Yeah, won't be able to
Hopefully,
kill.
doesn't have to worry about tile room.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, won't be able to kill Moldorm here, but if there's progression in here, and the seed is kind of screaming this dungeon right now, so...
Yeah, but the progression could just as easily be over in Eastern, which is always open.
Very true, and that is where LTigre is heading.
So we'll see which decision pays off, or perhaps both of them will. Sahasrahla has just got a lot of hearts in the back.
Love in Sahasrahla's closet. Okay. Yeah, as the chat's pointing out, route divergence here, and sometimes these are the most exciting parts of watching a randomizer race.
Both runners are exploring new places, finding things, like 300 rupees, which makes Zora a total non-issue. Did SevenS1ns ever check the first floor chest? Like the one on the floor where you walk in? I mean, I know he didn't have a small key for tile room, but that key could have been on Moldorm, or even in tile room itself. Anyway, well, that happened. LTigre found the flippers in Eastern Palace, which, makes everything up in the Zora area very appetizing. And that 300 rupees from Hera could pay off here. Yeah, I cannot fault SevenS1ns' decision to open up the farming room. Looks like he's going to be doing 2 loops of that to get plus... And now he's probably going to do 3 to get 60 rupees out of it, and then go straight to the Zora area via fake flippers. You can get everything except for... the Zora item. You can't get the Zora Ledge item right now. Sorry, I spaced for a moment because LTigre did something a little weird. He's going to be doing the Houlihan to get his rupees for Zora. He left Eastern after the 3rd chest. I missed what was in that 3rd chest. So hopefully... no, it was probably just all 3 items found. So first sword we've seen is on Lake Hylia Island. That's pretty nice knowledge. Unfortunately not available yet. It is glove or hammer or honestly Aghanim away. SevenS1ns finding another 300 rupees. LTigre is going to be happy about that, because he's getting his 300. He'll be able to just buy Zora. So both runners heading up to Waterfall Ferry. And we'll see if there's anything valuable here. Ooh, SevenS1ns getting sniped by the Zora since he was fake flippering. That's a death. But LTigre finding red mail and 20 rupees. Red mail's not a huge improvement over blue. But I don't think anybody's going to complain about having better defense unless they want to Death Warp in Palace of Darkness or something. But with the mirror, Death Warps aren't a big deal. So SevenS1ns gonna dip Eastern now. He's gonna find his flippers and realize that he probably should have come here first. In the meantime, I missed what was on the Zora ledge, but King Zora being paid off. It's a bit of a bribe. See if it's a good bribe.
No,
Just
of
the
course
100
not.
rupees.
Because it's never.
And Zora ledge was apparently nothing because LTigre did not go back for it.
The purveyor extraordinaire of life lessons lives up to his name.
So does that really just leave Agina for progression?
I am not sure. I missed a minute there, so...
At this point, I think it's either Agina, missed item in Hera, or potentially missed item in Eastern, because I missed if LTigre got 3 items out of it. He left after the 3rd chest, so I'm not sure if that meant all the items or just wanted to come back later.
LTigre heading up to Death Mountain here. You bring up a good point. Agina is such a low percentage play that you normally don't see runners making it, and
SevenS, considering no of Eastern, as soon as he finds his flippers, decides to press on. Probably dismayed by that death, doing fake flippers, and then just finding flippers immediately after. Always hurts to know you were making the right decision and just didn't play it right.
Yeah. Well, shoot. If I had known this, I could have done the fake flippers.
Is that anything like a skip, where you just do it the intended way to skip the skip?
Sounds good to me. Alright, so... it may come down to which one of our runners goes to Agana's cave first, because we certainly aren't going to be doing Aganim, so... unless we find a sword somewhere.
Yeah, that was, in fact, one of the best possible Eastern Palace layouts. All 3 items immediately, which does leave the big key in its vanilla location. You can definitely skip the big chest.
Yep. Swag there with the spinning blue boomerang.
So LTigre is going to be checking the chest we haven't seen, while SevenS1ns is going to go real this time, do first stuff.
S-word on Lake Hylia Island.
Yep, saw that when both runners came over here earlier, actually.
And just like when SevenS1ns did this earlier, LTigre... oh, no, he's going to use Kane. I don't know about that. Yeah, didn't have enough. So SevenS1ns showed us, though, if you go down the stairs or fall down, the number of beetles remains the same, but the pots respawn, so you have more weaponry. Oh, but the mirror out is not going to help, because the mirror out will respawn everything. So
fortunately, we know it's just 300 rupees up there, but that's going to be weighing on him for a little bit. If he ever finds his way back to Hera, which I'd be surprised if there's not a dip after a hookshot or hammer turn up.
Yeah.
Which, at this point, I'm pretty sure Agina is the only progression.
Based on the items that we have here, I think you're probably right. So, Watch Agana have the Book of Medora. That would be interesting.
Why stop there? Why not have a sword? So Moldorm has the small key with the progression and tile around.
It's a fair point.
And then that can be the book.
Alright, looks like both of our runners have decided, yep, you know what? Agana is all that's left. LTigre with exactly 1 bomb. Alright, drum roll, please. The hammer!
Well, that is the world.
Yeah. That's Dark World access, that's Tempered Sword damage, and end of anyone who was actually hoping that Aghanim was required.
So LTigre is going to buy some bombs for his Dark World trip, and the runners are going to be basically even. They've both taken a pretty nasty death. LTigre in Escape, and SevenS1ns doing fake flippers, but despite that, they're basically dead even at this point.
Yeah, but they are diverging in routes. Looks like SevenS1ns is going to hit up Hype Cave, while LTigre is going to go back up to Death Mountain.
Yeah, he's got access to East Death Mountain, so that is 8 chests, 7 in Paradox, plus 1 in Spiral. And one thing that I noticed that could be done is a Dark World map check while taking this path here. It's really easy to overlook, but, you know, knowing what you need, especially with an entire Dark World open, just lets you direct yourself a little better during those initial Dark World forays.
And Hype Cave, yeah, not so much.
Fire Shield's kind of nice. Makes blind a lot easier, but don't think these runners are going to have trouble with blind. There's the map check.
Pendant Swamp, Pendant Mire, Red Crystal on Trock. Wow. So
please no Myths and Pendant Swamp again.
That's exact. I was saying something like that. Yeah. Like Fire Rod and Swamp or something like that.
Yeah, I will laugh if Myths are in the big key chest again. Because this is kind of a side note, but both of my tournament races so far have had Myths there in Pendant Swamp.
You.
It's just... Randomizer can be mean. So SevenS1ns is going to go grab his sword.
I do not disagree at all with this.
No, that's a very good decision in favor of Hype Cave first. Normally, I would say you'd want to go Village of Outcasts area, but with that known sword, that definitely tips it in favor of Hype Cave and just exploring from there.
Yeah, and knowing that Skull Woods is a crystal dungeon, you know you're going to need at least 1 sword. So
LTigre is going to do Hammer Moldorm. Can't fault this as he's just clearing the dungeon out. So hopefully we don't see the small key here, because that means an items and tile room.
Yep. LTigre would be alright though. Take a little coffee break. Be okay. We're taking a coffee break.
So it looks like SevenS1ns is electing to dip Pendant Swamp without the hook shot immediately.
Interesting.
And yeah, as someone in the chat mentioned, Moldorm says Moldorm has to have the key. Moldorm actually did not have to have the key.
That's correct.
I believe it was V28, that allowed some keys to be placed such that they would only lock themselves and never be obtainable. I'm not the biggest fan of that choice, but it's in the game, so it's in the game, it's important to keep in mind.
I like it because it makes you significantly less scared to go into Thieves' Town without the hammer.
Yeah, I actually did the math on that earlier. It's 50% that
Exactly.
there's an item back there. Which is kind of funny because you'd think that 4 of 8, yeah, of course it's 50, but the big key placement locking out the front half, it's kind of really interesting that it still comes out to exactly 50%.
Yep. Those darn maths. The whole reason I went to law school. Okay.
Anyway, we're through the tile room. Nothing in the first chest of Swamp. We'll see whose pendant decision is the better one.
Oh, the flute! Oh!
That is huge!
Now, it's not necessarily a required item because the flute is only ever required for Misery Mire, and Misery Mire is a pendant. But it's certainly going to assist LTigre in navigating the overworld, and it is possible that a progression item is in Pendant Misery Mire. So we'll see how this plays out.
The flute can also be the required access into Desert Palace via the Mire area, which they're only myths away from having.
True.
And
Very
it can
true.
also be your first access to Death Mountain. Obviously not the case on this seed, but again, flute is just an incredibly powerful item.
Indeed.
Like, honestly, of every item in the game, if I could find one early, I would want the flute. It's just so much nicer to just warp close to where you want to be. So Swamp has so far been a bust. At least no map or compass yet.
But LTigre about to head into Paradox Cave and the 7 items waiting over there. So
Yeah, he is not taking the mirror block erase route, which is a little bit faster. But I also can't really fault this. Like, again, how often do you have mirror when you come here early?
right. The SevenS1ns taking the going to the left side of Swamp Palace, having to take the vanilla route because no hook shot yet. There's half magic. No one
And
will
the single
ever
arrow.
turn that down.
I don't know which one is the more valuable item here.
Boo.
Oh, come on. People go crazy for the single arrow.
There's the mitts. Golden gloves.
All right, if the hammer opened the world, the mitts open the rest of it. So there's still a lot of items to find, but they can check basically anywhere. So Death Mountain coming up pretty loaded.
So this swamp play doesn't look like it's going to work out for SevenS1ns here. Of course, 2 more items that they can check here, so not a complete bust yet, but yeah, with a piece of fart in that chest, yeah.
Just one chest left. LTigre going to do his map check and then head into Super Bunny Cave and probably check the Turtle Rock Medallion while he's here.
Yeah, always good intel to have, particularly when you know that Turtle Rock is required. The block erase trick, we all love it. And no, Swamp Palace is bum 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 bum. Wow.
There's still 2 items in the back, locked by hookshot, but nothing valuable.
No. So that's interesting. LTigre finding the red shield there in Super Bunny Cave, which means we're going to have some mirror shields today, folks.
Yeah, mirror shield is convenient. Definitely makes obviously laser bird easier, but the mimic rooms in Ganon's tower are a little easier. And I saw Bombos as the Turtle Rock Medallion.
And SevenS1ns just got the book from old Stumpy, so now Desert is open and completable.
Yeah, LTigre is actually in the same boat via the other route. And it looks like he's going to use his bottled fairy to break into Spike Cave a little early.
Yes, Berna and the half magic. He might not even need the fairy.
Oh yeah, Berna. How did I forget Berna? Oh right, because it's so rare that you are here this early.
And just $5.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4. How many is it going to take? Not very many, and it's just 50.
Just 7. Nice quick digging game.
LTigre almost certainly going over there to pick up and activate the flute.
In the meantime, SevenS1ns going to be routing his way up to the Village of Outcasts portal. Can't fault this, like honestly, between Mirror Route to East Death Mountain and the entirety of Village of Outcasts, including a clearable Thieves Town, I'd be hard-pressed to rush Death Mountain there.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what SevenS1ns is going to do. It looks like they're just going to hit the warp here into the Dark World, and probably I would imagine a check of Skullwoods, and almost certainly, as you mentioned, Steve's Town. Oh no, we're going to get a pedestal check, boys and girls. Meanwhile, on LTigre's screen, the goose is loose.
I'm hoping to see something required here for SevenS1ns' sake, because that will push him back up to Tower of Hera sooner, and that'll give him his flute and just cascade from there.
But it won't. Just 300 roops sitting on the pedestal. Meanwhile, LTigre heading on into Value Woods, which not as much value as it was in the previous version of the randomizer, but still Value Woods.
It's such a quick check for 5 chests here.
True.
You'll get at most 2 items out of it, but it's so fast, and it's really convenient when you're heading over to Thieves Town like this.
All right, SevenS1ns doing the same thing, though. Oh, there's the silvers to find the bow. It's going to be very nice.
But again, not much in the way of progression.
Nope, this could be one of those seeds. Do you like double dips? Do you like fetch quests? This could be one of those seeds.
I can't say I'm a fan of either of those things.
Oh, come on, everyone loves fetch quests. And how in the heck else did the Elder Scrolls series get so popular?
I wouldn't know. I've never actually played one of those games.
Oh, you blasphemer, you. I'm kidding. All right, so Skullwood's kind of messing with LTigre here, giving him the big key and saying, walk on back.
And again, you'd probably be walking back anyway.
Oh, that's true.
Vanilla Fire Rod?
That would be interesting.
I mean, it was the vanilla big key, so Vanilla Fire Rod, just all the backtrack. But nope. Simultaneous mirror and exit, though. Very nice sync, even though they're different doors. So, SevenS1ns gonna get his very valuable small key. LTigre, on the other hand, is about to do his Village of Outcasts check, and we'll see what value that the village has today. I'd say a sword is value. And the Cane of Samaria. So I believe that Phantom Ryu has a line he likes to say.
That's gotta be Kane! That would have been much better if I were able to see what's going on. I am experiencing some technical difficulties here. Thank you for letting me know, since I can't see the stream at the moment.
Hey, you don't want to miss your catchphrase. Yeah, SevenS1ns heading over to Graveyard Ledge. LTigre finding, in addition to that sword in Samaria, nothing. So he's going to be going to Thieves Town. Immediately finds the big key. SevenS1ns finding the hook shot. That makes Death Mountain a very, very smart decision now. Of course, he's probably kicking himself about Swamp a little more now.
Yeah, sometimes you think you gotta make some pretty big gambles to defeat your opponent, particularly when you know the quality of the opponent you're against. And sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Same thing happened to me in my race yesterday. I was going up against somebody that I figured I was going to have to make some gambles to beat. I made those gambles, but because I made those gambles is the reason why I lost. So, and I got completely outplayed in the last half hour of the game. Fiend just was turned on beast mode.
Yeah. I was in a pretty similar position, except the gamble I made paid off. Unfortunately, my opponent made the exact same gamble. And, completely outplayed. But, that's what happens. That's Randomizer.
Yeah,
You got some people who are better
Sword.
at the root stuff. You got some people who are way better at the execution stuff. And then you got the people at the top who can do both really well. Which is always a joy to see.
The SevenS1ns did find the Master Sword in Sea Hut, and I believe that gives SevenS1ns a bit of an advantage here, more range, etc. for blind. I don't believe LTigre has the Master Sword.
It also means Death Mountain is an even better decision because LTigre has Ether Tablet as an orphaned location, while SevenS1ns can just check it.
Yeah. So both our runners in Steve's Town right now. So this, since LTigre went in before, we're not going to see anything on SevenS1ns screen that we haven't already seen LTigre do. And of course, some of my least favorite enemies in the game, those darn crickets / grasshoppers, whatever. For some
ungodly
reason.
Not scary with hookshot and red mail though. Half a heart each, and they die to the hookshot. Coming in here less well equipped. 2 hearts and only about 6. They can definitely take you down fast.
LTigre going to go pick up blind first because okay, now LTigre should go ahead and check the big chest since there was not an item. Yeah, there we go.
What's in the box?
Swaganim strats are in the box.
I'd say that's a net gain.
Oh.
I hope you're not one of those commentators who don't like puns, because I like my puns.
Oh, I like puns, if they're intended.
Yeah. I mean, here's the best Pungeon Master in the game. Broken pencils are pointless. But
And
they
LTigre. Yeah, LTigre fighting blind, not blonde, with the Fisher-Price sword. But looks like LTigre got this pretty well in hand. And
yeah,
that is
fast fight.
Yeah, and this is one of those fights where the red shield is extremely helpful.
That was a beautiful blind fight. Too bad he couldn't see it.
Alright, so LTigre will probably head out of here, pick up the Master Sword, or not.
He has not yet gotten
that's right.
the sword.
That's right, yeah.
But with his mitts and mirror, he's probably going to sweep down to digging game, do that, come back up and do blacksmith, and then just work his way around, ending at the Master Sword.
Makes sense. And, Chad is asking this question. It is one of the great mysteries of our time. Is blind female? Or, if not, why does blind appear as a, as a female? I'm confused. I've always,
Blind is a redhead.
Could be non-binary,
Another very, very good blind fight from SevenS1ns. Both runners having no trouble with the Thieves down clear. After those early deaths, I don't think we'll be seeing any more from either of them.
And of course, LTigre with no boots, having to do hammer pegs the slow way here.
So SevenS1ns not going to be able to do blacksmith stuff, but at this point, he pretty much has to go to either desert or Death Mountain.
Well, confused why SevenS1ns would have avoided Death Mountain for so long. I mean, obviously, he got kind of burned at Tower of Hera, so that could be part of it.
I mean, he has less in Tower of Hera to do, and has been finding things as he goes around.
Oh, but we've got Bombos at the Breadsmiths, so that is the medallion for Turtle Rock, so very important find there for LTigre.
Indeed, SevenS1ns going to be finding his half magic and Titan's mid up here. And with the hookshot, he'll be able to check Hookshot Cave as well, which is super convenient to just get all of Death Mountain done in one go.
Indeed.
So the big question for SevenS1ns is, what is he going to do with Hera? Is he going to go back in, or is he going to leave it behind and be fluteless, which is going to gradually lose him time on the overworld, but could avoid some mire bait.
True. Or, mire might not be bait at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of open questions left about how this seed's going to play out.
Tigre going to be taking the lunchbox back home. I can't. Okay, no. LTigre is going to be hitting up not what we know to be not so hype cave, but
SevenS1ns gets his mitts, LTigre his book. Actually, the question will then be, is he going to check the contents of Bombo's tablet on his way over? He'll be close to the location after the purple chest drop-off, but he won't be able to get the item due to the Hylia Island sword.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have Fisher-Price Sword, and there's a Mirror Shield for LTigre. But you can have Fisher-Price Sword and still use the medallions, but you cannot receive the item from the tablets unless you have Master Sword or better.
Yeah, he is not getting the Hylia Island Sword right now.
Curious.
He could have forgotten about it. Which could, if he has, that can definitely play a very large role later.
Absolutely.
The SevenS1ns gets his Mirror Shield.
Am I getting pilloried right now? Did I say Master Shield? Forgive me.
Yeah, LTigre is going to be checking the contents of Bombo's tablet, and then probably just dipping straight into Desert.
So just arrows on Bombo's tablet.
I don't think I've seen that message before. I like that message. It's very straightforward. I mean, the funny messages are cool too, but sometimes you just want to know what it is without having to think.
Right.
Like, you have chosen the Archer class.
Oh, we got
Shovel
a fetch
over in
quest.
Hookshot Cave.
Yep. There's a fetch quest. We've got Little Love and Bombs, so Hookshot Cave essentially worthless.
With that shovel.
Yeah, that shovel though. Got it. Alright, LTigre finally gonna get his...
Can you dig it?
Alright, LTigre gonna check out the Mire area. Can't say I blame him.
Yeah, with Mire Shed plus the medallion knowledge plus desert, that's 5 items right there. Potentially
Absolutely.
more if you want to dip into Misery Mire, but with the medallion being ether, you can't quite do that.
Not quite yet. Alright, what do we got in the shack? Mire Shack, baby Mire Shack. Oh, we got the boots. There, Jordans.
Fast.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah, the boots right before desert actually super convenient because it's easy to forget that those can be required for desert sometimes because they can just as easily not be required.
Let's see. Was desert boot locked? Survey says possibly.
That's Quake. Not picking up Quake, he does know both medallions, so he just doesn't need it.
Yep.
So we're going to be seeing contents of Ether Tablet over here. The small key on LTigre's side.
Just big love on Ether Tablet.
After being so stingy with health early, it's very nice to see health.
Oh, what they lacked in health that made up for in red mail.
Yeah, so big key found. 10 arrows as the other item. Map and compass are on the big chest of Linmolas, so desert was a bust.
But with the required crystal, so...
And SevenS1ns electing to not go back into Hera. Can't fault that. Nobody wants to have to go back into Hera there.
No.
So he's not going to be getting his flute anytime soon. And if those boots end up required, we know they're not for desert, but there's still Bonk Rocks and there's still King's Tomb.
And Ganon's Tower.
Oh, if it comes down to boots on the torch and Ganon's Tower. Or, not boots on the torch, the big key, boots locked on the torch.
That would be an interesting bug in the randomizer if a second pair of boots was on the torch there.
That used to be possible in overworld glitches and major glitches when you start with boots change rolled out, just because the item placements still had boots to place. That wasn't removed, but you started with boots, so all the boots locations were in logic already.
Well, LTigre having a little bit of trouble timing these ice rod shots, and not at all unusual. The ice rod has a bit of a delay before the shot actually goes forward,
Yeah,
but still works out.
So SevenS1ns going to be getting his Bombos medallion. Probably following that up with getting 10 arrows from the Bombos tablet.
Oh, of course. Because why wouldn't you?
Alright.
It's raining around here. Alright, checkerboard cave survey says Pig 20. LTigre showing how helpful that flute is by just being able to bounce around the whole world and check like the SevenS1ns would have to be walking everywhere. But he does get Bombos medallion, so...
Yeah, SevenS1ns has done a pretty good job managing the overworld with no boots and no flute.
Bootless, fluteless. Meanwhile, his opponent has boots and flute. Gotta consider that a disadvantage.
So I missed what was on Bumper Cave, but I'm assuming it was probably nothing.
LTigre would have been able to get it even if there was something there, so...
So we'll see if that shovel's anything useful. Nope, just +5 arrows.
Nothing doing in Bonk Rocks.
Yeah, so LTigre is going to get his hook shot out of Graveyard Ledge and check King's Tomb, and we'll see if he advances the route over to Catfish. There's almost no better time to check Catfish than after a Dark World mirror to King's Tomb.
Agreed. It's both Cave Above Graveyard and Catfish are just so far out of the way from pretty much everything else in the game that usually like to do them together. There's the hook shot.
So at this point, the question is, when do you dip Mire? When do you dip Palace of Darkness?
Yeah.
And for LTigre, when do you dip Swamp?
Yeah. Now, here, Mire is completable.
Indeed.
So is Swamp, but Palace of Darkness is not.
But Palace of Darkness is a crystal, so it's something you'd have to be doing anyway at some point.
Yeah.
So.
Oh wait, that's right. No ether. I thought somebody had picked up ether. Been a long day. It was 108 here today, so my noodle's a little baked.
So SevenS1ns is going to be a little apprehensive when he sees that Quake medallion, because he doesn't know the Mire medallion yet.
Yeah.
He knows it's dependent, so he knows it might not be necessary, but that Quake is, again, just going to be a worry. As Chad is pointing out, Ice Palace would be a very strong play as a fully completable crystal, but it's Ice Palace. It's very easy to just want to put that off because Go mode is so much faster.
Right. And just 10 arrows, or 10 bomb upgrade for Quakefish, so not working out yet. To answer the question in the chat, pod is not completable without the bow because you have to fire an arrow at a Igor statue to get down to Helmasaur King.
Yeah, and speaking of Ice Palace, we are seeing Ice Palace.
You know, I cannot at all fault this play. As you were mentioning, it is a crystal dungeon that is fully completable and fully clearable, so...
With boots and hookshot, and even bombos, it's not going to be too difficult of a dungeon.
Yeah, the half magic there. The only mildly difficult part is going to be the boss, Cold Stare, with only Master Sword. Not that LTigre will have any problems with it, but Cold Stare does hit like a truck, even with the red mail, and no fire rod to really wreck Cold Stare. Almost had a language violation there. I'm good. All right.
They do still have the bottled fairy, so even if Cold Stare starts going south, that is some extra safety.
True. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sum up, or no, I'm not gonna sum up. I'm gonna read verbatim what one of the other runners in this tournament, Files, said in the chat here. The location of Bombos makes Ice Palace more likely to have progression, as does possession of Samari and Hookshot, making this totally in logic. Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. But so far, nothing in Ice Palace, but we haven't gotten to the item dense section of Ice Pod yet. Now, did LTigre bomb jump? Oh, he did because he found the key early.
Yeah. I mean, with the Cane of Samaria, the bomb jump doesn't matter too much when you're full clearing.
Right.
The worst case scenario there is all 3 items early and then big key in the iced tea chest, because then you do have to do an extra loop to go grab that big key to get to Cold Stare.
Just triple boom there, not what LTigre was hoping for. Again, though, there's no way that this turns out to be a wasted trip, because you're going to have to do it anyway. There's yet another bottle for LTigre.
Yeah, SevenS1ns, in the meantime, taking down Lynn Molas. Pretty good fight from the Ice Rod. So as mentioned, it's pretty hard to aim with, just because the Ice Rod projectile does not move at a regular rate.
We've seen
Big
2 items
for LTigre, so
yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we've seen 2 items from Ice Palace, or have we seen all 3? I think it's just 2.
I think it was just 2 as well, so
it's possible we may have to go back to the tea room, but we shall see.
There's a bomb jump in this room, and with that small key, it shouldn't be hard at all. There's a few different setups for this, and I highly doubt neither runner knows them.
Now, Tigre looks like he's going for a bomb jump here.
I like lining up using the top of the chest to get the positioning. Just line up with the top of the pit, as from there, and just no risk of failing. The SevenS1ns also going into Ice Palace. So it might look like SevenS1ns is quite behind, but if the back of Swamp turns out to be required, then the fact that SevenS1ns is already done the front of Swamp makes them very close.
All right, so we are going to have progression, or not progression, an item on Cold Stare. It's possible that it will be progression, but we will certainly have an item on Cold Stare. Oh, wait a minute. We still got big chest. I sit corrected. Okay, we will not have an item on Cold Stare.
We will have progression, though, in the form of a crystal.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
So I'll see if SevenS1ns elects to do the main bomb jump. I expect he probably will, just out of habit. Muscle memory can be very strong.
Very true. Alright, let's see. See LTigre take care of Cold Stare here with the Master Sword. Not fun at all.
It's the first
Oh my
spin,
gosh.
2 hammers. So 2 of the puffs are down. One of the puffs is down to 2 hits. Looks like it's about to die in 1 more hit. No, 1 more. Yeah.
Now that's
Little sloppy with taking damage, but very fast on dealing it.
Yeah, but man, that's guts hitting Cold Stare from below when you have that very reduced hitbox.
Yeah, don't fault him for playing reckless with 2 bottled fairies.
Alright, so where to? Let's see. Lonk's house. Yeah, maybe what LTigre is doing here now. LTigre can complete swamp, so if there is progression back here, depending on how long it takes SevenS1ns to go back, this could be devastating for SevenS1ns. But we know this will not be a pedestal seed, but that doesn't mean that something might be waiting behind that green pendant that Sahasrahla is holding onto an item in exchange for.
And yes, TK Kitty, it's just rupees on the pedestal. I'm sure most people are disappointed to see that.
Yeah.
So the worst thing that could happen here would be Sahasrahla has the progression.
Yeah.
Then you don't even know as soon as you leave Swamp if it was a bust or not. That said, I think LTigre is probably thinking, I'll go clear Swamp, get that green pendant, and then turn it in as I'm heading over to Palace of Darkness, unless something pushes me to go elsewhere.
True. You can just flute over to 5, and while you're making your way through the maze before Palace of Darkness, just mirror out, turn in that red pendant or green pendant to Sahasrahla, and see where we go from there. It'd be real nice if that were the bow.
Ah yes, you'll need this item. You've beaten the green pendant dungeon, so you can get this item now. Here's the item you normally need to beat the green pendant dungeon.
That's right. Green pendantception, sort of. Alright, so we're going to be no surprises on LTigre's screen here for a while. See how SevenS1ns handles the Cold Stare fight. Answer the question in the chat about the soft lock and pod. That has been corrected in version 29.2. It will be interesting if there does turn out to be progression in pod because of how zealously both of our runners have avoided it when they both could have dipped into pod long ago.
So SevenS1ns electing to mostly fight Cold Stare with the Master Sword, with the bottled fairy, not too worried about taking a death here.
And the spins do the same damage as the tempered sword. Obviously, they're not as quick, but
yeah, spins and hammer would be the same. Spins can hit multiple a lot easier. but Hammer can get multiple hits on the same puff quicker, so pros and cons to both weapon choices. It doesn't really matter what you do as long as you come out on top.
Hey, half a heart, still alive.
So it looks like we might be seeing either a retrip into Hera, in which SevenS1ns will get his flute, have to do the Mire area stuff, or he's going over to Turtle Rock.
I would
Looks like
not.
the latter.
I can't fault the gamble right now. I mean, obviously, we've had the basics that we need to explore Turtle Rock for a while now, that being the Cane of Samaria, the Hammer, the Mitts, and Bombos, and
Dead
the
Rock.
Dead Rock.
Got hit twice and just blocked the door. Back in Swamp has been mostly a bust for LTigre. It's going to come down to Argus, and I haven't been item counting, but I think Argus has either map or compass. But again, LTigre doesn't know that because he hasn't done left side Swamp.
Well, there was a piece of heart and a full heart on left side, so...
Alright, in that case, it is definitely a dungeon item.
It'd be interesting if it's, say, ether for the green pendant.
And then Mire's just bait. That would be... Who made this plan, though?
Indeed. So this could be a significant play here for SevenS1ns, because it is possible for the Fire Rod to be in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, if the key placements are right, it can be as deep as the laser bridge.
That's right.
And then you could even be forced to backtrack all the way to the start for the roller room key, and then go all the way back through to get to Trinex.
So it was your plan, though. It was your plan, though. Got it. See, I tricked you into admitting it.
I would say I would never do that, but I totally would do that.
Yeah. So would I. So let's just admit it there. So SevenS1ns is not Fire Rod locked. You got a key in that first chest, which is normally what happens.
So Chain Chomp Room can be checked, and if that's a small key, then you can progress further. LTigre does decide to go back for left side Swamp, so he's going to have a 2-minute dead while we have the suspense of Turtle Rock.
Big key, so yeah, nope, SevenS1ns.
The small key.
You have the mirror, SevenS1ns, just nope out, or save and quit, either one.
So SevenS1ns probably going to head over to Palace of Darkness now. Either that, or he's going to follow LTigre and clear Swamp.
And it looks like the latter.
So this is where LTigre having the boots really shines. Because now both runners have done pretty much the same set of things, but LTigre is just ahead because he's had the boots for a while, just from doing that tile from Hera for the flute, check a little more from that. And what he's checking now, he's checking everything SevenS1ns checks faster.
Right. Just because of us both. So because all of our runners seem to be so ardently striving to avoid Palace of Darkness, I'm almost willing to bet that both the bow and the Fire Rod will be there.
And that would be go mode, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, SevenS1ns is returning to Swamp Palace. LTigre just about to be very disappointed in finding just more hearts here. That is the Sank heart, though. Everyone loves the Sank heart. You gotta think LTigre's from here. You gotta think he's fluting to 5, gonna clear pod, check the check Sahasrahla. Or he could make a liar out of me.
He hasn't checked Ether Tablet yet, so I'm sure he's thinking I should do that now. Or he could make a liar out of me as well and copy the Turtle Rock check.
And these two guys are in each other's heads.
No, he hasn't done Hookshot Cave yet. He came up here before finding the hookshot. So he's going to do Hookshot Cave, and then while he's here, because nothing, probably just dip Turtle Rock while you're there. You usually get kicked out fast without the fire rod.
Just a big 20 on Floating Island, but no use to mirror back out for that.
So we're probably going to see some sync on the way over to Palace of Darkness.
It's very possible. Yep, LTigre is making the Turtle Rock dive too.
And he's got to open it, because it has to be opened at some point. I can't see him going into this before going into Hookshot Cave, just in case Fire Rod's over there.
Yeah, you got a point.
But, you know, we've tried predicting what they're going to do. We've been wrong more times than we've been right.
Yeah, he's going in. Because of course. Because of course. This is the make Ryu and No Name absolute liars. Pathological liars, even.
Okay, so after he checks Hookshot Cave, he's going to jump straight into Ganon's tower with some overworld glitches and find the bow sitting on the torch just to be hilarious. Because secretly, this is a major glitches seed.
Yeah. Yeah, the abject refusal to go into Palace of Darkness by this time is mind-boggling to me. But
yeah, I think LTigre's decision to go into Turtle Rock during this Death Mountain trip makes sense. I think his decision to do Swamp first makes sense. The SevenS1ns having more half-finished stuff and just going there first before Pod, that is a little strange.
Shoutouts to Lord of Hyphens in the chat. Quote, "Not going into Pod and you can't make me," say the runners.
The seed can totally make them. There's a crystal there. You have to.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not familiar with how crystal duping works, but for all I know, there's a way to dupe the pod crystal without even going into the dungeon.
Yes, SevenS1ns checked Dig's spot already, and it was like 10 arrows, right? Or a arrow upgrade.
I think it was +5 arrow capacity.
Yeah. And LTigre very, very disappointed in Hookshot Cave, and can you blame him?
Yeah, he's gonna go over to check Ether Tablet now.
Yeah. Oh, wait. SevenS1ns. He's going right. He's going east. It could be Palace of Darkness.
Has he checked the pyramid item yet? I don't think he's checked Catfish yet either, but he is going pod! Finally!
Finally! SevenS1ns has come back to pod!
And I think LTigre has to go into Palace of Darkness now as well.
I think you're right. He's gonna check Dig's spot first, though.
But he will be following SevenS1ns shortly, so... The worst thing for SevenS1ns would be Ether turning up here. Because that would, in turn, open up Meyer completely.
Just a big 20 from the bald guy.
Yeah, so, you know, absolutely nothing of value to be found from the Swamp Palace step.
Alright. So where is LTigre going? Pyramid, I would assume.
Yeah, Pyramid before Palace of Darkness makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, he wants to be absolutely sure he doesn't make an extra trip into Pod.
Right.
So,
At this
first chest
point-
was a small key, so the dungeon is not bow locked, which means the bow can be found here.
I'm guessing Ether in here, Bow and Misery Mire.
For the sake of a good race, I don't want to see that. I didn't see what was on the pyramid because it went by so fast, but nothing valuable.
Okay, clearly not important. As quickly as LTigre noped out of there.
It's another small key. No.
Did we miss the bow? We missed the bow. SevenS1ns got the bow. Bow and Pod. Of course, it kind of had to be there.
Yeah,
right?
So Bo was on the bridge chest, I guess. We'll confirm one way or the other. So SevenS1ns forgetting he can... No, he doesn't have the boots. Of course he's not forgetting he can dash into those walls. It's LTigre boots.
Too
So
early
at
in
this
the morning.
point, it's just the fire rod, which will have a very, very interesting race if the fire rod turns up soon, because LTigre will be behind, but have the advantage of having boots.
Right.
And we'll see if that advantage from Flute and Tile Room, Boots and Mire Shed would be enough to make that up.
How about Mushroom and Mire Vanilla Powder Fire Rod on Bat? I mean, I like that. I like that. It's good.
Yeah, the worst you could get would be adding an Ether step to that.
Well, yeah, Ether's. They gotta have Ether somewhere, but. And there is the bow for LTigre. Both of these runners right now have got to feel like they're behind.
Yeah, Bowless Pod, always a scary trip to make.
Oh,
there's
Ether.
Oh no. Oh no.
Although if Fire Rod is in here, it's doesn't make that much of a difference. But like you said, though, LTigre has the advantage of having both boots and flips.
So Big Key wasn't found. I guess Big Key was vanilla. And then that leaves the map and an item left between the big chest and King Helmasaur.
Yep. Vanilla Big Key. Alright, so Helmasaur's got something. Will it be that elusive Fire Rod?
It's either that or the big chest has something. One or the other.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So SevenS1ns will hopefully go for Helmasaur first. He's going to have to do that anyway. The trip to either the big chest or Helmasaur doesn't matter. Nice silver arrow to increase that lag time.
I get why SevenS1ns is doing it like this. He's going to have to go down to Helmasaur anyway, so if he goes down there and Helmasaur King has the item, he doesn't have to go back through the Maze of Darkness or try to hammer Yump.
Indeed. LTigre, on the other hand, is going to be able to just grab that big chest when he's doing the Dark Maze in the first place. And we've really got to hope to see the Fire Rod on Helmasaur here. for SevenS1ns to still be in this. So it'll be... I mean, even if it's not, it will be interesting to see when he goes back to Tower of Hera. He might not even realize he's missed an item in Hera.
That's possible. But...
So, decent Master Sword Turtle Party room. I like doing that one with just the hammer. I find it a lot more reliable than trying to set up a Master Sword spin.
Alright, SevenS1ns is going to use the sword charge. Alright, the item is in the chest, but it's just 50 rupees. Alright, so that means SevenS1ns is going to have to come back into pod here and check that. He's certainly not going to let one item sit here undiscovered in pod. He's going to be so sorely disappointed when he does go to get it. Meanwhile, LTigre will be able to just nope on out and continue the search for that elusive fire rod.
And the search will take him into Mire as his only option, I think.
I think you're correct. I think we've checked pretty much everything else. So, how about that hundo, though?
It's not a hundo until the big keys in tile room. So, we know the fire rod is locked behind Misery Mire. What do you do if you find the mushroom or powder in there?
I will laugh maniacally. That is what I will do.
Like, do you continue clearing Misery Mire, or do you bank on that leading to Fire Rod? I would continue the clear, but there's an argument for both options there.
Yeah, I would continue the clear as well. There's only 2 items in Misery Mire. So you've found 50% of them if you find mushroom or powder there.
Does that change if the last item is on Vitreous?
Nah, I'm already there. The amount of time lost by having to go back to Misery Mire is a risk I'm not certain I would be willing to take.
Yeah, but this is a tournament race. It's a one-on-one. Both runners probably feeling behind. That is the kind of example where that is the kind of place where you make those gambles. So, good Helmasaur fight from LTigre. Seeing as he doesn't really have anything that will speed up Eastern Palace, I would be very surprised if he doesn't mirror and just clear it now. He's never going to be closer.
Right.
SevenS1ns was thinking the same thing. Unfortunately, without the boots, he's going to just have a slower clear.
Much slower. But at least he already has all 3 items, so he's not going to have to wind back around.
But neither runner got the big key during the first trip, so they do have to wind back around, so something's missing again.
Something is missing. That's right. Except this time it actually is the big key. Yeah, we're gonna see LTigre catch up a bit here just in Eastern Palace alone because of the boots. There's so many long hallways in Eastern Palace that I think they did that on purpose because in the vanilla game you get the boots after you complete Eastern Palace, and I think they did that on purpose to basically show you, hey, if you had the boots, you know how much faster that last dungeon would be?
Yeah, like this is just a perfect example of the boots saving time. They do not save as much time as people think, but they save enough that if you find them a lot earlier, you're going to save a decent bit of time. And if you find them late in an easily accessible location, you just know that it could have been so much faster.
I hear the statistic bandied about that in the NMG run, boots save 4 minutes which is a significant amount of time. But that, of course, is the NMG route. Your mileage may vary.
Yes, 2 to 3 minutes per hour sounds pretty reasonable. Just because NMG, you know exactly where you're going. You get to optimize all the little bits of movement.
Right.
And you know where all the things are, so you get to just dash past the chest. You don't have that luxury in a randomizer run. Until go mode.
Until you're in go mode. Exactly.
You still don't get to because you don't know where the big key is in some dungeons.
Alright, so now, as we all know, the most likely and maybe only possible location for Fire Rod is Misery Mire. But SevenS1ns doesn't have the flute. We know he can go get it by going back to Tower of Hera and getting the item that he missed. But does he remember that he missed one item in Tower of Hera? And I'm not certain that he does based on where he's going now. He
hasn't checked Pyramid or Catfish yet.
Yeah, good point.
So he's not really going to have a better time than right now to do so. So, very nice Silver Arrow Armos fights from both runners. So you can just see LTigre gained something like 20 seconds just on that Eastern. Because as my co-commentator Phantom Brewer mentioned, there are a lot of straightaways.
Yeah. Let's see. LTigre almost certainly going to flute straight to 6 here. Oh, yeah. It's Mire time.
The
Mire
answer
Rod.
is always Mire.
No. The answer is always Laser Bridge, but, you know. An answer is Mire, but the answer is Laser Bridge. Are we going to see a bird toss?
Okay, so the pyramid item was only a heart piece all along.
I'm hoping for a bird toss. Come on, bird toss. There we go.
Willing to put in the 2 seconds, even with that little bit of time pressure from that bow being the absolute last possible.
So interesting factoid. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but interesting factoid there. If you saw, SevenS1ns shot his hook shot that went completely through a skull, and the reason why it went completely through the skull is because that was one of the skulls that if you touch it, it comes to life and attacks you. The hook shot will always go through those skulls. So the question is, are we going to have to go all the way to Vidi, or are we going to find the Fire Rod somewhere before Vidi?
First chest is the big key, so...
Because of course it is, when you won't be able to go mode Mire.
So SevenS1ns doing a save and quit. I'm sure he's thinking, what have I missed? Go straight to the mountain cave, so... Yeah, the fact that he meant to mirror, he knows it. He knows that it has to be Hera now. I'm sure he's not happy with this.
No, not at all. And, although fortunately he will be able to go straight to Mire, get his boots as well if he checks, because I'm certain he'll check the shack before going in and dungeon diving. I think LTigre might be far enough ahead right now that even a left versus right in Ganon's Tower may not be able to make up the time.
No, he would have to just blitz here, and would you really blitz? Oh wait, no, you'd already be in the area, so... But if the Fire Rod is locked behind an item found here, but isn't actually in Misery Mire, then... SevenS1ns is probably going to check those boots locked locations that LTigre has already checked before checking Witch or Magic Bat.
That's right. I was wondering why SevenS1ns didn't go straight to basement. It's because he never killed Moldorm because he didn't have a sword or the hammer the first time he was here.
50 rupees in the Misery Mire big chest, so...
Alright, that's one of two.
Oh! Frame drops obscuring the item, but I think
Clearly
it was
wasn't
just
the
a
fire
small
rod.
key.
It
From
clearly
the
wasn't the
HUD.
fire rod, because otherwise LTigre would not be in Misery Mire anymore. So, help us, Phitrius. You're our only hope.
No. LTigre does not have the compass of the dungeon yet.
I'm not certain he checked vanilla big key spot.
Yeah, I thought he did when he was over there, but I guess not. So, either way, there's two very long options, and neither of them...
Now the question is, did LTigre check pedestal? I thought only SevenS1ns checked pedestal, so Tigre may be thinking this is a ped seed. Because this is the only pendant he has left.
Yeah, SevenS1ns, on the other hand, knowing the pedestal is not required, can just ignore Moldorm's pendant. He got the key, that's all he needs. Just electing to fall down rather than mirror. He never checked the hat chest either. So that era was a little bit of a mess. Yeah, so there's the compass of Misery Mire on Vitreous.
Alright, well, we're going back to cutscene room.
Yep, we're going straight back in.
Yep.
What is this seed?
Evil. That is what this seed is. Evil. Alright, so I will have to laugh maniacally if this is a fetch quest item.
Yeah, SevenS1ns finding his flute. Instinctively mirrors, then realizes he needs to save and quit the sanctuary.
So, you wonder... Will LTigre blind pull pedestal? Probably not. I just throw that out there. He won't. I just throw that out there.
I mean, he might if this is powder.
Alright, SevenS1ns activating his flute.
We're gonna find out if it's a fetch quest.
Of truth.
Nope, it was just the fire rod.
Ladies and gentlemen, LTigre has activated Go Mode.
So SevenS1ns is going to go check Mire Shed, get his boots, and then he's probably going to go straight into Mire.
Oh, without a doubt.
And if he likes to go big key chest early, he will gain back some time by being in go mode without having to face Vitreous.
Yeah, depends on how SevenS1ns decides to route it.
It looks like he's going to check Checkerboard Cave first. I can't really fault that.
No, not at all. I mean, you don't want to, particularly Misery Mire, you don't want to have to dip it if you don't have to. And when you're one item away for go mode, like SevenS1ns is.
No, he's doing a save and quit. He's probably going to check Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb. I saw that Sanctuary save and quit, so...
Yeah, that's a good point.
We know these are busts and that he has to go into Mire. Every second he's going elsewhere. Just another second he's falling farther behind.
Yeah, we know it. He doesn't. This is not at all a terrible decision. It's only bad because we know it's bad.
That said, we're still only on Master Sword.
That's right. But both runners have silvers, so...
Right. But the thought there is... if the big key's in Tile Room and SevenS1ns gambles on that, he's actually not out of this yet.
Oh, no.
Like, he's fluting somewhere, so hopefully we see Flute 6. We do. So, a clean Fire Rod Mothula fight from LTigre. Just the compass.
Yeah, it's LTigre's not worried about anything except for that nice shiny crystal right now.
He's got to be confident in his Master Sword Ganon.
Yeah.
So, Tempered Sword would be nice if it turns up in Turtle Rock, but by no means is it essential.
No. And SevenS1ns also doing the bird toss, so we got all the memes here today, ladies and germs. Ladies and gentlemen, I completely forgot. There's 22.
Hasn't
22
even entered Turtle Rock yet.
Oh, yeah. God, I'm sorry. I thought he was going up there forever. All right. Well, it's already started, but we'll do the full announcement later. This is old men, and they're yeah. You just have extra time today to get your big key guesses in, folks.
Just spam your favorite number in the chat as long as your favorite number is an integer between 1 and 22 inclusive.
That's right. We'll just let everybody go. It's all right. It happens. It happens. We just admit my mistakes and move on. LTigre is going to be go ahead and back into Turtle Rock here. He already has the big key, so he's really just going to be fishing for a couple of keys here to finish out.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to open the vanilla big key test in the lava room. He doesn't need to.
No.
So we found one chest small key. There are 4 in the dungeon. If he's lucky, he won't even have to do Laser Bridge. That's half the fun of having the Mirror Shield, just ignoring Laser Bridge.
Very true. Very true.
Turtle Rock being a little bit stingy with its keys. And SevenS1ns also putting off the big key test in Misery Mire.
That's going to cost him.
I mean, he could go there now.
Yeah, that's usually the way I route it. But nope, not happening.
With that early big key, you cannot really fault going over to the big chest, and then you're already right there near Vitreous, so coin flip gamble. Gets his 50 rupees.
Now, will SevenS1ns go straight to Vidi, or will he check big key? Let us see.
Yeah, he's not going to be fighting Vitreous, so...
Alright. It's a little bit of a time makeup, but he does still have to do Skullwoods. Yeah, this is going to be tough.
Yeah, there pretty much needs to be a fault again at this point. It is not impossible.
No, not at all. Particularly when you have to do Master Sword, and it's all spin to win.
It's super easy to just lose focus for a split second, make one small mistake, and off you go. Small key in the big chest. Right there is why you don't skip the big chest.
Absolutely.
If that and the big key chest are both small keys, then you have to backtrack from the laser bridge.
And I think that means no laser bridge, unless I'm missing my guess.
Two keys. One. Yeah.
Yeah, so there will be no laser bridge.
There's definitely no laser bridge.
Yeah.
We're gonna have an extra key in Turtle Rock, which you never see that.
Do you think no, at 145, knowing the caliber of your opponent, there's no way you check laser bridge. Even though you got the mirror shield and you can do it relatively quickly and painlessly, there's no way you check the laser bridge in the hopes of getting a sword. Of course, now that I've said that, he'll do it. But, you know.
Yeah, it would be nice if it could just be done on the way, but he's electing not to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those decisions. It can easily go either way. You're more likely to find one in Ganon's Tower while searching for the big key anyway.
Very true. If they're there.
Are you implying there's one in the brick chest of Skullwoods all along?
No. They could both be on Laser Bridge and there could be none in GT.
Or they could be at Witch and Magic Bat.
That's true too, but we have no powder.
Exactly.
And no mushroom. Yet.
Funnily enough, mushroom in this position would actually open up both locations.
Yeah.
Due to the fake powder glitch.
This is... Hammer Trinex is so annoying. And you are seeing
with half
why.
magic, I like just spamming the rod.
It's true.
So
After a
neither
certain
runner
point.
opted to buy a potion from the witch at any point. So they only have the bottled fairies that they found on their way. So SevenS1ns, I think, still has both. I believe LTigre used one. And both runners in kind of scary boss fights, but both of them look like they're going to get it done.
Alright, so now that Trinex is down, I'll give the full spiel. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 22 chests in Ganon's Tower in which the big key could be. Which key? Or which chest do you think it's going to be? 1 through 22. Put your guesses in the chat right now if you haven't already, because Phantom Ryu screwed up and started the game early.
Synchronized crystal gets. So I always like the big key to be in the map room, which is the one with the 2 fire bars on the left side.
Alright. So LTigre, you're going to be entering Ganon's Tower with the Sword of Evil's Bane, the Master Sword, to which Lionels are completely immune. Now we know why there's such a pain in the patootie in Breath of the Wild. Alright. LTigre is in Ganon's Tower.
Going right side first, the standard route. So usually runners will go right side first. If they find a small key,
there's Cheeto's sword.
They just go left, and Yeah, that tempered sword is... Everybody's gonna get that. Super nice find. It's gonna be... LTigre is going to have no problem taking down the rest of the game from here.
No, not at all. Red mail, mirror shield, silver arrows, 15 hearts. Yeah, I think he's good.
We're gonna be in for a treat here.
Yeah. Clutch refill, didn't see.
Heard some rubies.
Yeah, but by the fact that he's still going, means he probably didn't find the big key.
Yeah, I think I heard a heart piece, and I'm guessing another item was a small key in there. Because there almost has to be a small key.
Right.
Especially
Right,
with none on the right side, and none on the torch. So there was in fact a small key.
Yep. Well, we may be having some technical difficulties, but meanwhile, SevenS1ns is making his way through Turtle Rock, falls through the Samaria platform, which is interesting.
So LTigre goes into map chest room, and come on, frames, show us what it is.
So we know that SevenS1ns is going to be getting enough keys to be able to skip Laser Bridge here in Turtle Rock. Let's just see how quickly he's able to do that. I always like when I get into that room that SevenS1ns is in right now. If I have the powder, I like to hit all 4 fairies at once, or anti-fairies at once to make 4 fairies. So
map chest in GT was just 5 rupees. I'm trying to gauge what happens based on the HUD. It's working decently well. I mean, there was very clearly a couple of good rooms in there. Nothing of interest in the Fire Snake room. Obviously, we don't know exactly what it was, but couldn't be important. Looks like it was somewhere in Randomizer, the fact that there was a mirror. And yeah, we're already upstairs, so we don't know exactly where in Randomizer room it was. So we'll find out what the winning number is when SevenS1ns gets there.
Yeah, it was either anywhere between 10 and 13. So
I think I saw at least one open chest, so it's probably 11 or 12.
Yep.
That is some fast slashing.
Yeah, it is. I'm like, that's like turbo level slashing right there.
I thought turbo controllers weren't allowed.
They're not, but believe me, if people can hover, people can swing their sword that fast.
Yeah, but hovering isn't so much about the speed, so much as only having the button released for a single frame.
Right, which, I mean, it's 1/60th of a second, so speed.
Yeah, but you can do it back and forth, like, as few as 2 times per second.
Yeah.
Regardless, we've got a pretty clean gauntlet going, other than the low health, but some strats in here deliberately take damage to speed things up.
SevenS1ns, so far, very clean Trinex fight. Nicely done, is able to mirror away, but still has the blue head throw some lag on the ground. Alright, LTigre seems to be back up to speed for a moment. Gauntlet complete. Kana Samaria room's coming up here.
And you got the 1 cycle in Molus.
It's very nice.
Oh, that was a beautiful Phase 2 Trinex.
It is also very nice. You got to think LTigre probably thinks he's behind as well.
Yeah, he's willing to just risk that fairy revival happening.
Yeah.
But, you know, because of that fairy, 1 heart is not as scary as it seems.
Is going to need to pick up that second key, but he's not going to be opening any chests.
He found the mushroom somewhere.
But sorry, folks. It was not a misery mire, so no maniacal laughter from me. You'll just have to wait until the next time I do commentary. And there's a ultimate fetch quest of doom.
I'd like to get the full magic. An interesting thing that LTigre could have done would have been waste all his magic and then fake powder the anti-fairies there. Fake powder works by trying to use the Cane of Samaria when you don't have enough magic to. And then as you do that, you pause the game, switch to the item menu, go to either mushroom or powder, and then powder comes out.
That is an incredibly complicated way to get a heal. I like it, though. I like it.
Yeah, it would be plus 14 hearts there, which, you know, that's basically a full heal right there. And with the full magic jar, that's all you need. Like, the loss of magic isn't even a detriment at that point.
That might have been a double on Aga 1 there. That is certainly just a single.
Yeah, Aghanim 2, not the easiest fight. Yeah,
yep,
it was
that
a
first
double.
shot was a double. There we go.
2-1, 2-1.
And with Bacon Sword, Silver Arrows, a Fairy in reserve, we are going to have some pork barbecue here very, very soon, ladies and gentlemen.
Though, with only 2 hearts, 1 hit will use up that fairy. Ah, the mushroom was in map chest the whole time. I thought it was 5 rupees. Guess there were 5 rupees in the other room.
The land slugs. LTigre doing a pretty good job here in Ganon. 12 slashes each cycle takes the hit there, but obviously we've got a fairy. It's going to be just fine.
Was in the fire snake room in Ganon's tower. That would have made Ganon a joke.
Yeah. And as if by magic, pun intended, LTigre using the cape
as if
there.
by magic cape.
Indeed. All right, let's see.
That's 10. That's 11. 12, so it's 13.
13.
And it looked like that was the last chest LTigre was going to open in the room from the few frames we saw, so...
It was me. I won. I put 13 in. Thank you. Thank you, boys and girls.
Are you even allowed to do that? I mean, you know when the game is starting, so you can just put in your guess immediately.
Hey, you guys can scroll back up. There were at least 24 guesses before me.
In the meantime, LTigre gets a double on Ganon, and the pig is down.
All right, LTigre will win this race. Looks like it's about a 158.09. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. For these 2 runners to finish that close to 2 hours, that tells you what kind of a pain in the patootie this particular seed was, because I have seen both of these guys get some ridiculous times in when I've been racing with them. And by ridiculous, I'm talking 120, 115, 117. So, and yeah, go ahead and point out something in the chat here. Yeah, SevenS1ns kept up very well without the boots and the flute for so long. So
I think part of that was he didn't get sidetracked by boot or flute locked locations that didn't have anything. until the very end where he just blitzed where he needed to go for the most part. But at the same time, he was keeping up with very clean runs of basically every dungeon, despite not having the boots. And super clean overworld routing to make up for no flute. So apparently 100 rupees is considered a fair trade from Zora.
Oh, you know.
I mean, the 100 rupees, it is a unique item, so he's obviously just a money collector. Of rare and shiny coins. Or gemstones. And mushroom led to the last sword. What did I say?
It did. Mushroom for a slasher. Nice. So it could have gotten butter, but there's no way anybody was going out of Ganon's tower for the butter sword at that point.
Nah. Down goes Moldorm 2.
So,
What a seed.
let's see if I can find LTigre to see if he wants to come in for an interview. I am unable to reach LTigre. But GG's to LTigre.
SevenS1ns played pretty well, and he also just took down Aghanim too. 4 cycles, just like LTigre.
Love it when a plan comes together.
It's off to Ganon, also with low health. Like, very, very, very close.
I think he's got a fairy as well, so...
Yeah, I think he still has 2, actually.
Again, not going to be too terribly difficult.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 slashes and at start. 12 more once Ganon starts spinning his trident. Spins count
But
for double, so that's 8.
Yeah,
And that's phase 2 down.
yeah. Each hit of the spin. Yeah, each hit of the spin counts as double. So when you get very close to the wall like that, and you can hit Ganon twice with the same spin, that's the equivalent of 4. Oh no!
No,
Now,
wait
wait a minute.
I think the fairy revive means he can save himself.
That's what. And he did.
Oh, that is a great. That kind of sums up the entire seed.
It really does, doesn't it?
This when things start to go wrong, something happens, and it all just works.
That swag there, lighting the torch and getting the torch glitch with the fire rod, so double swag there for SevenS1ns. Yeah, somebody's got to clip that one.
A fairy revive to Ganon.
Yeah. Well, GG's to SevenS1ns. He's going to come in a little less than 5 minutes under LTigre, and especially considering how long he went without the flutes and the boots, that is very, very well played there by SevenS1ns. The value.
Both runners got some really nice runs.
Let's see if I can get SevenS1ns in here.
Yeah, the Fairy Revive and Fall. Link to the Past does not like when two things happen at the same time. At all.
No, it really doesn't.
SevenS1ns apparently does not know the Discord for an interview. I would have to really dig to find him on Discord, so...
I sent an invite, but apparently he either didn't get it or it's not working. So I may not have privs. The sadness.
So the credit stats really are going to show the story of the seed. LTigre got his boots around 51 minutes and his flute around 30. And we'll see in about 5 minutes how much farther behind SevenS1ns got his. But 1 death, 1 Fairy Revive.
So I must have missed Ganon's Tower Big Key. I was trying to...
No, it wasn't visible on screen.
It wasn't? Oh, okay.
It PowerPointed there too, so...
I'm waiting until I see the Ganon's Tower Big Key number. Now, well, crud,
it'll
we can't.
Be 12 because the torch got skipped.
Right, I know that, but... oh, there he is. Hey, we got SevenS1ns. SevenS1ns, GG's, man.
Hi. I don't know if you could call that GG. That seed was the worst. But GG to LTigre if he's here. I'm not sure. But
yeah, I was not able to find LTigre on Discord. Maybe that's my fault. But at the end of the day, man, you really have nothing to be ashamed of. For the longest time, I think. How long, No Name, did we go where Tigre had the boots and the flute and SevenS1ns didn't?
Yeah, Tigre got his flute at the 30-minute mark and his boots about 20 minutes later.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. When he first went up to Hera, he did it a little bit later after having done a little bit more, and as a result, could just... he didn't... he went up there after Aguna, so he'd already gotten the hammer, so he could defeat Moldorm, get the key, get the flute from the tile room, and it just kind of cascaded from there.
He actually went to Aguna before Death Mountain. That is commendable. I left Aguna as the last option, I think.
And then it was just, when do you go back to Hera at that point?
As the last possible option, I guess? Just like Aguna?
And then both of you put off Palace of Darkness until it was pretty much the last place that could have had progression.
Yeah, what was going through your mind there? Yeah, what was going through your mind about why did it take so long for both of you really to finally try and check Pod?
When I went up to when I got my hammer, I basically felt behind the entire time. Like I was like, oh god, this is not going well, and I basically from that point out, I gambled on everything that my opponent would have already done. So, like Pod is something that I imagined that LTigre would have already done. So I was like, you know what? Forget about it. I'm going Total Rock, even though I don't have a fire rod and going into Swamp Palace and
Both
did
of
that.
you did.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
LTigre did not go into Swamp without the hook shot, but he did go in there in full clear a little bit after the hook shot. So
Okay.
you basically just did what each other were doing, and we were just trying to guess what you were doing. And every time we would say something, you'd go do something else
Nice.
for like 20 minutes before pod. It was just.
Yeah, it was mainly just feeling behind. Like every time I found an item, like I felt ahead when I found the hook shot. I was like, this is out of the way. That was a complete gamble checking Graveyard Ledge. And then, the hook shot was in there. I was like, oh yeah. And then I got the Titan mitts right after, and I was like, oh dude, I am so ahead right now. And I don't know if I was, obviously, or not. But at that point, I was like, well, I lost my lead because I died to that, the Zora kid. He nuked me in the water. That was like, it broke my heart. But yeah, I don't know. I just gambled continuously the entire seed through, and it didn't pay off.
See, the thing about that fake flipper's death is that actually negated LTigre's death during the escape sequence all the way at the bomb wall.
Oh, okay.
His 3 heart at the beginning, he took a death, and that was pretty much negated by your death there. So it was very close for most of it. And then the flute turned up, and then the flute led to boots. And then you were ahead if those weren't required. And then the moment it turned out to be required, that was pretty much it. But if they weren't, and if the fire rod was in Palace of Darkness, it would have been quite the race. Like, you would have had a lead going into the Domo dungeon clearing, but without boots. So it would have been really cool to just see that lead diminish.
I know one thing. I'm never going into Hera again without a weapon.
I mean, sometimes you have to, though.
But did you see my biggest mistake, by the way? Because I know you guys don't really point out mistakes, but I did not check the map chest in Hera ever.
We noticed.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think we really noticed until you went back in the second time, though.
Okay.
I noticed and pointed it out that I didn't think it ever got opened.
Yeah, that was the biggest mistake, and that's worth losing a race over, honestly. If it was in there, it was like, yeah, that's your own fault.
No, but unfortunately, it turned out to be that darn chest in the basement that was the kicker there, where El Flute was.
Yeah, that was the seed.
If I can literally just never speak of this seed again, that'd be great.
Well, that is something that I pointed out to the chat. I mean, both of you are outstanding runners of this game, and for the two of you to come in both around the 2-hour mark, there was only there's less than a 5-minute difference between the two of you.
135 flute.
Yeah.
Literally over an hour difference on the flute.
Yeah,
so, my point being, when two runners of the caliber of you and LTigre are around the 2-hour mark, that says something about how much of a pain in the butt this seed was.
Yeah, I would not recommend this seed to anyone ever. I'm used to my fair share of bootless seeds from the previous versions, but this one it just hurt so much more because the items were so out of the way, for me at least, because I never found that flute, obviously. So I was so slow going over the overworld and so many save and quits for my doing. I usually don't save and quit at all, and I got like, I think at least 10 save and quits, maybe more.
I saw 15.
15. Yeah, that's like 3 times as much as I usually have to. So, but yeah, what happened again? And do you guys know what happened there?
You
Yeah.
started falling, then Ganon contact damage killed you, so that interrupted your fall. The Fairy Revive allowed you to move again, because now you're like, instead of falling state, you're in the sliding into falling state, and you could walk off during the invincibility frames.
Yeah, okay.
Animation glitched out as a direct result of that.
I was like, this is
Link
a
to the
major
Past
glitch,
cannot do two things at the same time.
No, but I was like, major glitch, disqualified, get out, exploration glitch or whatever. I was so scared I was gonna zone into like the Triforce room because of it.
Yeah.
I've never seen it before, but it was pretty hilarious, I guess.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna pretty much do it for us today on this particular broadcast, but we have a lot more Link to the Past Randomizer 2018 spring tournament coming your way on all of the channels. What I can confirm for you right now is at 1 o'clock p.m., we will have I'm Hublis versus Nakachu on Link to the Past Randomizer. At 2 p.m., we have Gweg versus Violet Pumpkin on Link to the Past Randomizer 3. At 3 p.m., Kruya versus Nyanasaur on Link to the Past Randomizer 2. 4 p.m., Elminster RTA versus Durand on Link to the Past Randomizer. Miria-chan versus Male at 6 p.m. 8:30 p.m., Mikan versus, I'm going to butcher this name, Neohusky 224. It's on Speed Gaming 5. 9 o'clock p.m., Prince Buffoon versus Fate Firex on Link to the Past Randomizer, and also at 9 p.m., Crimson Avix versus Nakanashi on Speed Gaming 2. Wow! We got a lot of races, and that's only the ones that we have confirmed restreams for. Stay tuned to the Discord to find out, and the schedule, which I'm about to link in the chat, for updates on who's restreamed and where. But, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the 2018 Link to the Past Randomizer Tournament. I have been Phantom Ryu, along with the person with no name, providing your commentary here. We'd like to shout out, before we leave, our tracker today, Laurie D. Bunnykins, for providing us with that. SevenS1ns, before we sign off, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Shift delete this seed, never return. Thank you for the commentary, and thank you for hosting a tournament and everything. And yeah, here's to the next round.
Yeah, thank you for an entertaining race.
Thank you.